So today we're going to be working on looking at the project timeline. Now this is really important when we're doing our video projects because in our Premiere Pro editing workspace we've got 4 key elements which we addressed in the last video. You have your media library. This is where you import all your footage, your audios and your titles, and you've also got, and you create bins which help with your file management there. In the top left hand you've got your playback. Now your playback's really handy because it helps look at the footage before we put it into our project. Now we go from our playback, so every time we have a piece of footage, so for example, let me import some footage right now. So I'll go to my horror sequence project, here's some footage, and I'll pick just the first 5. So say I like this piece of footage, so I can play it back here and review if I like this piece of footage. I do like this piece of footage, so I'm going to drag that file into my project timeline. Now, from here, I've been given a bunch of different options. Now, don't be intimidated by these. So what we've got here, much like in Photoshop, Canva, anything, our creative project is made up of layers. Now, it's really important to look at these layers. So you've got V1, which is the video track 1. So we've placed our file on video track 1, but we could easily have placed it on video track 2 or video track 3. And if I continue to drag up, it'll actually add a 4th video track. This applies for the same rule down on the audio tracks A1, A2, A3. If I wanted to create a 4th track, I just push it past that line and it will create a 4th track for me. Now, let's look at some of the tools we can use with our video. So a good example and a good way of getting an understanding of this is to import some audio too. So what we'll do is we'll go Control-I to import, get some of our audio. So here we go, got some creepy music. And we'll just add those in. So I'll add one of those pieces of audio in. Now, there are 2 ways here. So what I've noticed is my clip is too small for the piece of audio that I've just added in. Now we need to find a way to fix that. So what we need to use is one of the tools in our toolbar. That would be the razor tool, in which we can use it, line it up with our piece of footage, and we'll know because those 2 little prompts will come up and we'll clip it. And it's created that line and separated the 2, which allows me then to delete that one. So that's really handy to have, as I can clearly see when the footage ends, so does the music. Now, say I'm editing multiple different sounds on our track, and I only want to listen to one of them. So right now they're both playing. It's very hard to hear both at the same time. So what we want to do is mute one of them. So we click the M button. That way, I'm only hearing all of my other tracks except A2, this line. Another way is also to solo a track, which means I'm hearing just A3 right now. And we can do the same with footage. So say I've got 2 pieces of footage. So I'll add a second piece of footage in here. But right now, it's overlapping. And it's getting a little difficult. Say I adjust the size on this. So I'm popping it up and they're both running now at the same time. It's very confusing to edit. I'm getting confused. What I want to do is turn off that one so I can clearly see just the track. All the tracks on V2 now can't be seen. So we can't see that smaller video. If we want to lock a layer from being affected, so say we've created a really good sequence, a really good assembly, and we're done with editing that layer, we can actually lock it. This means I can't do anything on the V1 line while that lock is in place. In order to turn it off and on, we just click that. This means I can freely move all of my other assets around but we'll never ever push it down into that V1 line, which means I won't lose footage by accident, which is really handy. So these are some of the tools that we have available just in the project timeline, and also the elements that make up of it. So you're not as intimidated by the Premiere Pro space.